So the importance of having your own direct booking site, being able to be dependent or at least diversify your marketing channels. Judah, what do you feel about being, an independent short-term rental owner, and having the luxury of having your own direct booking site to attract your perfect guest?
Absolutely. For those who don't know, I'm Judah Swaggerty, co-founder of B&B Amplify. And this is my partner, Chris. He's also the co-founder, content strategist for our company. And so what we do is we help hosts like you build brands around your STR businesses. So that's the importance of having a direct booking website. You want to be able to have a direct booking website because it showcases who you are to the world. When you're on the OTAs, you get lost in the noise, right? I mean, there's so many properties on OTAs. Think about Airbnb, for an example, Chris. If we were to go to a property listing right now on Airbnb, if I scroll down to the bottom of that page, Airbnb is going to populate other properties that will take me away from the page that I'm actually on, right? So they're showcasing other properties from other hosts on the platform, which is okay. That's fine, because you're giving the guests options, right? Yeah. But you're also giving them an escape from booking with me.
Yeah.
And so that's the importance of having your own direct booking website. It showcases who you are to your perfect audience. Mm-hmm. It establishes trust. It establishes credibility. It establishes a power surge, so to speak, especially when you're competing in the marketplace with so many different people who are putting properties on the OTAs and are not doing it. They're not doing it.
Yeah, it's an oversaturated market. It's no different from going to your local creek, and and I hate to be harsh, or if this is a little too direct. Going to a stream where everybody is literally peeing upstream into this creek, and you're trying to get water to boil your food or whatever you're trying to do, but you're downstream. The key is to really just be upstream. Find your own position where as though you can stand out and you could be alone and you'll be able to have as fresh water as possible. Now, and what I'm saying is, you're going to go to an oversaturated market and try to compete with as many, with other short-term rentals in one marketplace. And, here's the thing. A lot of people assume that it costs, from what I hear, is 40% per new acquisition to acquire a new guest.
Now, that's the perception, right? I don't want to cut you off. That's the perception.
That's a perception.
Yeah.
It's not true, because, here is where you need to build a brand and be able to stand out. Now, it sounds like, oh, that's easy. It's not. One of the greatest quotes is being committed to it every day and building your personal brand or building your business brand, because there's two designations there.
Yeah,
you have a personal brand, which is which is you, and then you have a business brand. And staying committed every day, creating content for your perfect audience or your perfect guest is really key to standing out. And that's the importance of really having a brand. Whereas though you're not going to an oversaturated marketplace. Now, don't get me wrong, Google and all other major search engines are marketplaces. They are marketplaces, but you are in a bigger, you're in an ocean as opposed to being a shark in a pond, because that's what a lot of these OTAs, I'm not just singling out, Airbnb.
Yeah.
These OTAs are a pond, and sharks can't thrive in a pond. They thrive in the ocean.
And it's great that you said that, because when you're sharks, think about, if I had a small pond, how big can that shark grow, right? And if that shark is devouring all the fish in the pond, then eventually the shark dies out. So that's a great analogy. I like that, because when the shark is in the ocean, it can grow as big and as large and as wide as it wants to grow. And there's plenty of food for the shark in the ocean.
Yep.
And plenty of space for that. I like that. But going back to personal branding versus corporate branding or business branding, we know about Jeff Bezos, right? We know about how brilliant his mind is in terms of business and marketing and strategizing. But we also know the brand of Amazon. You know, we know Apple, but we also know the founder of Apple, you know, Steve Jobs. So we know that these personal brands are very, very important to how how you communicate your business brand to your audience. So that's another reason why we encourage hosts to not just build direct booking websites to build your business brand, but also start sharing content of your local community, of your local area and things to do in your community or wherever it is that you're trying to attract people from and coming into, so that you are seen and perceived as the expert of that area in terms of attractions and information and gathering insight for the traveler who is traveling. So it's very important. I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and not to take anything away from personal branding, because it's a lot of short term rental owners or boutique hotels or bed and breakfasts that they are family run businesses, and
Yes.
that's a unique selling point when you're able to convey that message that you're a family run business. I think that when you're on an OTA, you're limited to that discussion. When you're able to have your own branded, direct booking site, a source where you have multiple pages, minimum is 5 to 7 pages, you'll have that area where you could talk about your personal story, that personal brand story. And we talk about brand storytelling a lot in our Facebook group, and the
Yeah.
importance of it.
Yeah, the personal brand story is very key because that's what attracts. We're emotional human beings. I mean, I can only be so emotional to something that is non-living, right? Like if I can only have so much attachment to something that is like a house, like a structure. But I can definitely attach myself to another living soul because that living soul feels and it breathes and it thinks and it has emotions and it has the capabilities to understand. And that's the reason why we talk about knowing who your target market is, knowing who your audience is, knowing who your perfect guest is. What's the reason why they're traveling? Why are they looking to escape? Who are they traveling with? Are they traveling with family? How many family members? Do they have children? How many children? If they, where do they work in terms of what industry are they in? How much money are they making? Not to say that these are things that are important, like the amount of money that they're making, but if you are promoting luxury homes and your homes are $1,000 a month, then you're not going to get the person. You're most likely not going to attract the person. I don't want to put it out there as a negative, but you're most likely not going to attract the person that makes $30,000 a year, who's looking to get away with his family for a week. You know what I mean? So it's very important that you have an idea who your avatar is, your buyer persona, so that you're able to use language on your direct booking website that attracts these people to you. Now, one thing we like about direct booking websites is because you can build them with unlimited pages. And when you have unlimited pages, it's sort of like throwing fishing lines out in the ocean, right? You talk about the ocean and the shark. So if I have, and Google is the #1 search engine in the world. Everybody goes to Google to look for information.
Billions of users.
People don't go directly to Airbnb.com. Most likely they're typing in Google, and then they're using selective keywords, and then Google brings up Airbnb listings because there is really no direct booking websites in those local areas that are pushing that content forward. So Google has no choice. It's not to say that Google wants to list Airbnb, because they would rather list local businesses. They would rather list the local STR because they understand that it's all driven by all driven by the keywords that the guest is typing in, and then and Google wants to deliver more of a personal experience for its searchers. So when you have multiple pages out in Google, then Google indexes those pages, and then that's why it's also important. I know we're going to talk about this in another video, but that's why it's also important that you focus on keyword researching who your local market is, and then also utilizing those keywords inside your direct booking website.
Now, you said something so important about Google, because Google is to the point now in 2020, they're positioning themselves to literally be the number one market or number one major search engine where people will essentially find one time with one research through different variations of phrases and keywords to find what they need. So again, Airbnb, all the TripAdvisor, Booking.com, VRBO, they're going to pop up under short-term rentals. They're going to pop up under vacation rental. They may even pop up by anybody, typing in king size bed or, luxury stay or cottage or all these different keywords. This is what people are searching. Now, it's key to understand who Airbnb's demographic is. That's over, I believe, I want to say within the last decade, and this is from VRMA statistics. You'll find a link in the bottom. We'll provide the links for you in the description. 60% of the people that booked on Airbnb were millennials. Now, you also hear that, VRBO is more so older baby boomer demographic. So this is specific to, the market that's out there. Again, it's like what you mentioned about throwing the rod, the fishing line out and you're grabbing your perfect guest. Now, your perfect guest has to be specific to what you know about your perfect guest and what you're offering. Being able to have that special offer for that specific niche is important because you can never have, too many people in your audience. You have to be able to narrow it down specifically. That's how, Google works. When somebody is typing in a keyword and a phrase, it's specific to what that person is looking for. And if you're able to convey that same language and message in copy or writing or in your ad, in your into your your ads that you're positioning your brand, whether it's on social media or Google Ads, that word, those phrases have to be indexed by Google in order for you to be able to, in order for your perfect guest to be attracted to your brand on your direct booking site. Now, I know it sounds a little complex, but essentially it's simple when you have the comprehension around what your guest is searching for. And that's important because on this channel we have the empathy map, and the empathy map is a specific tool that marketers use to get inside the head of your audience or to get inside the head of your perfect guest. And that's very important because now you know what they're searching. Now you know what their queries or their intentions are when they're searching on a major search engine like Google. Again, Google is starting to get to the point where you can speak in your phone, or you have these tools like Alexa, you got Amazon, you have all these specific things where you're speaking voice recognition into Alexa, into an automated system that pulls up exactly or generates or populates exactly what that user wants.
And it's so key because that's the next wave of SEO is voice, voice to text, right?
Yeah, voice to text.
Because I use it all the time.
Yeah,
I always use it. So it's also important. That's why it's important to know who your audience is. What language are they using? Because I can type in something that's going to be different, but if I speak it, I may speak differently than I type. And then also, if I'm looking for something really specific, I'll put quotations around my phrase, around my keyword, because I know that Google is going to only bring up those phrases or those keywords that have quotations around. So it's very important that we understand who the target market is. It's very important that we know why we need a direct booking website. It's not to say that you have to leave the OTAs, because that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is you need to be able to have a boat or a ship that is headed towards a destination, and the OTAs is just that guide, that not the steam engine. The OTAs are not the steam engine. It's just that guide to kind of help you get to where you need to get to until you're able to get those juices flowing inside Google and get those pages indexed, so that when you start getting those direct booking through your website, you're saving your guest fee, saving them money on fees. You're saving money on fees, and then you're just offering this all-around great experience for your traveler. Now, the notion of the misconception is, well, it costs too much money. And I know we're going to get into that in later videos, but it costs too much money. Or why would I want to do that? Because, Airbnb is going to bring me all of my guests. Again, it goes back to you are lost in the sea of noise. Yeah. You are not the only one that's being promoted, even on your listing page. Scroll to the bottom of your listing page. There's properties at the bottom that you don't control and you don't own. So if I see something better than yours, or if I see an offer that's better than yours, I'm gone. You're never going to know I was on your site or on your listing page, and I don't even know who you are. Yeah. I can care less as a traveler. I can care less who you are, because at this point, I'm on Airbnb and I know who Airbnb is.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And not to cut you off, but they're Airbnb's guest. And,
yes.
and people have to be able to come to that, realization that they're Airbnb's guests. That's why you see what's going on with the extenuating policy during this COVID-19. You have, people that are confused on why, Airbnb would choose to save their business as opposed to saving their short-term rental business. You guys came into a partnership agreement to where as though they provide guests, and all you have to do is provide accommodations for them. So we have to be able to, designate that, okay, that's their guest. And I told you 60% of millennials that book on their website for the past since the last decade. They made majority of their bookings. Your specific accommodation may not be specific to millennials. You may, and not to be in a discriminatory sense, you may attract those, but you may have accommodations for families, big groups. You may have accommodations for luxury. You may have accommodations for baby boom. That's something specific that you can take and put in a brand. And people, this is noted. This is from fueltravel.com. Again, we'll have these references in the description. We'll provide those references. But fueltravel.com did a study in 2019 to where as though it was over 3,000 participants that participated into this study, and it was 6 to 10 websites. People were searching through the major search engine like Google before they actually committed to reserving their property. They searched between 6 to 10 websites. Here is where, again, what your perfect audience is searching in the inquiries. We know that your website is, has its off-page and on-page SEO, whereas though it's attracting that person that's searching between 6 to 10 websites and where you fall. Now that's a 3-month time frame where people are generally booking looking to reserve their perfect stay. Now that's a perfect world, but an imperfect world, like what we're living in today, people are searching 30 days out, and they're making their decision within that 30 days. Now, they might have went through Airbnb and didn't see the accommodation. But if you were one of the ones that landed within that 6 to 10 websites within that 30 days, they're going to make their decision. They're not thinking about, well, hold on, let me see if there's somebody on Airbnb, or let me see if this is, no, they're going to make their decision within 30 days because that's in their budget. That's what, and this was in 2019. So they're looking to, commit to something immediately. So you have to have your brand, you have to have your website ready in order for somebody to, commit commit, you know, within that 30-day time frame. And again, it's all about being niche specific to who your audience is.
That's perfect. And we'll definitely talk about niches.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, I think this is a perfect time to kind of end the video. I mean, you provided a great closing. Is there anything that you want to kind of sum up before we close out?
No, I think I, you know, made my points clear, and you know, if you had anything to add to that, you know, you have the floor.
All right. So again, a direct booking website. Where can you go? There's plenty of places you can go to. We actually have our own platform that is private to our clients only. We don't promote it to the public because we want to work directly and closely with our host and giving them this knowledge. So if that's something that you're interested in, just let us know. But all you have to do is just do a Google search and just shop around. So if you like this video, if you found it helpful, just please comment in the comments below. Be sure to ask any questions that you like and any topics that you want to know about. We'll make sure that we do a video on it. Go ahead and like the video and go ahead and subscribe to our channel and make sure you hit the notifications button so that way you get notifications every time we drop a video. I want to personally thank you for watching. Continue to strive and be your best, and that's what it's all about, right?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Hey, thanks again for watching, guys. Come follow us on social media, our Instagram page and our Facebook page. Also, don't forget to join our free Facebook group, Vacation Rental Branding Success for Airbnb, VRBO, and HomeAway. Subscribe, hit the notification. Thanks again.